This ocean road hides its hardest engineering beneath the waves. Busan's coast is not empty water. It is a working highway for ships. Across the channels, Geoje needed a faster connection to Korea's mainland economy. Before the link, distance was measured not in kilometers, but in lost time.
The question was simple. How do you build a road through this?
A normal bridge could not solve every channel, every ship, and every depth. A bored tunnel would have forced the road far below the seabed. The answer was not one structure, but a chain of different structures. 8.2 kilometers of road would stitch sea, rock, and island together. Above the water, the bridge made the project look almost effortless. But the hardest part was where the road disappeared completely.
An immersed tunnel is built on land, floated out, then sunk into place.
Before touching the ocean, each tunnel section began inside a dry dock. These concrete boxes were not cargo. They were future pieces of highway. One element was longer than a city block and heavier than many ships. Under the sea, tiny construction details become life or death engineering.
Even concrete had to be controlled, cooled, measured, and trusted.
A leak here would not be a mistake. It would be a threat. When the dock flooded, the future tunnel began to float. For one brief journey, concrete had to behave like a ship.
The ocean gave engineers only narrow windows to move safely. Tugs pulled the tunnel piece across water, it would soon disappear beneath.
Before the tunnel arrived, the seabed had to be carved into a foundation. A tunnel this heavy could only rest on a bed built with precision. On the surface, crews positioned a road above its underwater target. To sink the tunnel, engineers invited the ocean inside controlled tanks. Tens of thousands of tons descended slowly into the blue darkness. Too fast, too low, or too far aside, and the operation could fail. Underwater machines made the final adjustments human hands could not. Two separate giants had to meet like one continuous road. A rubber seal became the thin line between traffic and the sea.
When water was pumped away, pressure helped lock the connection tight.
Then the seafloor was rebuilt around the tunnel for protection.
Inside, sealed boxes became one continuous path beneath the ocean. This was not done once, it had to work again and again.
Piece by piece, a hidden road grew across the seabed. Only after the ocean work came the road people would recognize.
A tunnel under the sea also has to breathe.
Every drop had to be guided, measured, and removed. The safest part of the crossing is the system watching itself. Above the waves, the visible bridge had its own impossible demands. Cables pull, towers compress, and the deck holds the road in balance.
The towers had to stand calmly, where wind and water never stop.
A bridge is only as strong as what the ocean cannot see. Many pieces were built on land because the sea is a poor workshop.
Floating cranes turned shipbuilding strength into bridge-building precision.
Each foundation had to land where engineering drawings met moving water. Once positioned, the base was grouted, weighted, and made permanent. From hidden foundations, the bridge towers climbed into the sky. Every cable changed the balance of the bridge. The road stretched outward, segment by segment, above the channel. Build too much on one side, and balance becomes danger.
At the center, two advancing roads finally became one.
The bridge could not conquer shipping. It had to make room for it. Where clearance was not enough, the road went under instead. Small islands became stepping stones in a much larger engineering chain. The crossing did not only fight water, it also cut through rock.
Drivers experience one road, but engineers built many different machines.
Here, summer storms could turn the schedule into a battlefield.
A sea bridge must survive forces drivers may never notice. Sometimes the smartest engineering decision was to wait. Weather forecasts became part of the construction equipment.
When the sea finally calmed, the most dangerous work began. This was a race won by slowness, patience, and control.
Every inspection was a promise to future drivers.
The sea was not the only force engineers had to respect.
Strength did not mean stiffness. Some parts had to move slightly.
The real test began after construction ended.
When the road opened, the ocean barrier became a daily commute.
A journey once shaped by detours could now be measured in minutes. Geoje's shipbuilding coast gained a faster artery to the mainland. The same road that moved industry also opened a coastline to visitors. Great infrastructure often proves itself through ordinary days. Drivers see a tunnel. Engineers see thousands of solved problems. A project like this is never truly finished. Every cable must keep carrying the invisible mathematics of the bridge.
Salt water is patient, persistent, and never stops testing steel. Below the channel, pressure presses against every joint.
Modern bridges speak through sensors, movement, strain, and vibration. At night, the impossible crossing becomes a line of quiet lights.
Calling it a bridge misses the real achievement.
Bridges, tunnels, islands, seals, sensors, and roads all became one machine.
Its true scale is measured in lives made easier.
The engineers did not defeat the ocean. They negotiated with it. The right solution changed wherever the coastline changed.
Its genius was not being the tallest, but being exactly enough. The heart of the crossing still runs where sunlight never reaches.
Every tunnel segment once floated before it became part of the seabed.
Here, sinking was not disaster. It was the construction method. What once moved with waves now carries traffic beneath them. Above and below, two kinds of engineering solved one coastline.
A shorter route can reshape an entire region's rhythm.
Every ocean project leaves engineers responsible for more than concrete.
Future crossings will borrow the same lesson. Adapt to the water. Around the world, great crossings are conversations between geography and design. But this solution belongs to this coast, this sea, and this problem.
The greatest engineering is often the part that disappears.
Above it, the sea looks untouched. Below it, a highway moves.
Bridge, tunnel, island, and sea became one continuous decision. South Korea did not cross the ocean by force, but by precision.